Now we go to Florida with Representative Cammack.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. I know last time we jumped right in on talking about some dairy programs that, as you know, Florida, it's a pretty unique situation. And as you know, our dairymen and women have suffered doubly this past year. First, with the aftermath of devastation from Hurricanes Ian and Nicole and the residual impacts of the pandemic market volatility assistance caps that left them with massive shortfalls and disparities from farm to farm as a result of how the payments were calculated. I'm glad that USDA has made announcements on both fronts to provide additional payments from funds that Congress has provided, but none of those payments have gone out. Can you update us on the status of both of these programs and let us know what we can be doing to help get as much of this assistance needed out the door and onto the farm?
I anticipate the margin, dairy margin protection coverage that we increased recently will be going out very, very shortly.
What is very, very shortly?
Well, let me get back to you in terms of the actual time, but we're not talking about months and months and months. We're talking about something less than that.
Can you commit to me that you'll have an answer by the close of business today?
I'll get you the answer as quickly as I can, because I don't know, I might still be here by the close of business today.
I think for everyone in this room, we hope that you aren't. But how about this?
We'll get you.
We'll compromise. By the end of the week, if you could have an answer back to my office, I surely would appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Also, as you know, Hurricane Irma, as it ripped through the heart of Florida, our ag communities in 2017, they were absolutely devastated, particularly the citrus industry. Much like Ian and Nicole, it literally blew away an entire crop, leaving Florida growers with absolutely nothing. I was there when the announcement came on anticipated boxes for the year, and it was like being in the middle of a bad dream that you couldn't wake up from. So as you know, we've been working together on a block grant to make sure that the delivery of federal disaster money made it to the citrus industry. Can you commit to working with us as we seek to give the USDA the authority to make sure that the citrus industry can participate in the disaster funding that was recently appropriated by Congress?
If you direct us and give us the power to do so, we will do everything we can to get the resources to people who are in need as quickly as we can.
Okay. You know, at the end of this, I'm just going to jump right to it. At the end of this, would you commit to meeting with me before the end of the month or the end of April? Because there's a lot of Florida-related specific items that I think need to be addressed that a lot of our producers are concerned about.
The only reason I'm hesitating is because a significant amount of the first part of April, I'll be traveling to the G7 meeting in Japan and Vietnam on some trade issues. So that has a tendency, it makes it more difficult for me to commit to being in D.C. at a particular time. But we will certainly make an arrangement. I'll tell you, what I can commit is maybe a phone call. That will be a little bit easier.
That can be arranged, I believe, in 30 days, okay. Certainly. And shifting now to rural utility service, RUS, and the NTIA's BEAD program, which has really been working with the state broadband programs. I know that you guys have signed a memorandum of understanding and taken steps to coordinate NTIA and the FCC and on the broadband funding issue. But what are the results of that coordination? Have you been able to assure that the funding will not be going to areas that are already connected? Because overbuilding has been a constant concern.
We're sensitive to the overbuilding concern, and we're providing information to the other entities in the MOU about where we are making investments under our Reconnect program, so that they're aware of where we are investing as they put their maps together and as they make decisions about the allocation of the bulk of resources under the infrastructure law.
Okay, and that's something that I'll definitely follow up with you on, talking about the broadband deployment issues when we have our call before the end of April, just putting that on the record. And then finally, turning to some of the more concerning news that's been coming out of Brazil. Obviously, I'm sure you know that the test samples were submitted to the World Health Organization for animal health, and they tested positive for BSE. And that was on February 22nd of this year, but it indicates that the event of BSE started on January 18th, which was a difference of 35 days. Unfortunately, Brazil has a history of delayed reporting, which, as you know, could have devastating consequences for our markets. Considering their track record is basically a failed one of reporting on animal diseases in compliance with the standards, will your administration, your agency, take appropriate action to suspend Brazilian beef imports until we can verify an equivalent level of safety and credible reporting in Brazil's food safety and animal health systems?
I think that would be a mistake, Congresswoman. And the reason it would be is because we're talking about an atypical BSE incident, which we've also had in the United States. And if we were to restrict trade because of that atypical incident that is not recognized by WTO as a actionable interest, we would be exposing our own industry to significant disruption. We have expressed concerns to Brazil about the lateness, and we've also made sure that our surveillance at the border is as appropriate as it needs to be to protect our industry.
Mr. Secretary, respectfully, I think that's a mistake. This is billions of dollars that we will be susceptible to loss of. So with that, I yield back. I'm over my time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.